why? He goes, well, I like, he says, I don't want to do it with a fly line. I don't want to use monofilament. I'm like, well, yeah, you can do it that way. And I've caught fish that way, I have. But like, you'll catch one fish to 25 or 30 doing it this other way. And when you go to Alaska, isn't it about catching fish, and isn't it about volume? You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, he's like, well, we're just going to do it more the traditional way. That's what he said. But why would someone want to do that? Because isn't catching it, I mean, you catch it the same way both ways, but this technique helps you. Wouldn't you want to do it that way?
You actually catch more fish. You're just all like,
They're comfortable the other way.
Yeah, they're comfortable the other way. They've done it. So when I came, I'm completely different. I'm a traditional. Hey, no. I'm a traditional fly fisherman as well. And like I don't fish with lures, and I don't do any of that stuff. I mean, I have a drift boat. I think I'm not exactly sure the number of fly rods I have, but it's over 15. Okay. I'm not sure the exact number of fly reels I own, but it's more than 15. Let's just say this: when I go fishing, people don't have to bring stuff. Okay? I got enough stuff to take care of everybody.
nice.
All right, and I don't know how many fly boxes I have, but I think I added up one day, and I probably have over $6,000 worth of fly boxes and flies.
Whoa.
And I tied a lot of those myself. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I have a ton of stuff that way. But the thing I want to make this point, and then I'll go on to the presentation, is that for me, it's learning from other people that are really good at something, and then once you learn it, then you have a lot more success and you have it a lot more quickly. And it's the same way, exact way in selling. You know, I'll come in, I'll teach people techniques, I'll teach them the things they need to do, and they're like, well, I like doing it this way, or I really like doing it that way. And that's cool if you're selling 80 sets a week.
Yeah.
You know, that's good. Even if you're selling 30 sets a week, and do what the crap you're doing, that's good. You know, whatever it is, do. But my philosophy has always been, and my son Stanton, who's just getting ready to leave home, he is really good at this. My son Sterling is on his mission, horrible at it. I'll tell Sterling and Stanton, okay, this is the technique you need to use to catch fish in this spot, and this is how you need to do it. Sterling will never do it that way. He won't do it that way. Stanton will take it word for word, exactly what you tell him to do. He'll do it, and he'll start catching fish instantly. And then after about 4 or 5 hours, then Sterling goes, oh, maybe I better try that. But he'll only half try it. He won't go all the way. He'll just half try it. And he has to learn by his own experience. And so the reason I shared that whole thing with you is because selling is the exact same way. And Scott, you're doing good. You got over 100 sets already. And this is what, the beginning of are we in the middle of the 5th week?
The 6th?
6th? Oh, 6, yeah. It was 6 on Monday.
I think so.
Yeah. So the 6th week, and you're a little over 100 sets. But, so if you went this week and next week, and at the end of next week, my first summer when I was out selling, I was at 67 cents is where I was at. And on my team, I was the lowest guy on my whole team.
Whoa.
And that was halfway through the summer, 67 cents. I ended up having 240 good sets. Okay? But what happened is I finally figured it out, and I asked enough questions, and I figured out how to get people through their issues. And now, when someone gives me an objection or something like that, I never ever think of it. I don't even think of it as an objection anymore. I'm just like, how can we get around that? That's all I think. How can I help them get around that? How can I work them around that issue? And it doesn't matter whether it's recruiting. It doesn't matter whether I'm out with the missionaries trying to get someone interested in being baptized. It doesn't matter whether I'm dealing with problems with the stake president that's pissed because of this, that, or the other, or upset bishop, or whatever. My whole thinking now is, I don't think, oh, that's an objection.
It's like, what's a solution?
How can I get this guy around that? How can I help this lady get around that and help her to get this? And that is honestly the way I think now. And so like last night, I was trying to find a hotel, and everything was over $300 a night.
Ooh.
Here in Anchorage. It was spendy. So I was like, man, how can I figure that out? So I told my wife, I was like, start calling. And anyway, ended up getting hooked up with this hostel, and it was $140.
Wow.
So it saved me double, okay?
For one night?
For one night, yeah.
It was 140.
Yeah. And so, but here's the thing, is they didn't have a room for tonight or tomorrow night, so I don't have a place to stay for tonight, right?
Oh,
But like, am I worried about that?
no.
No, I'll figure it out. I'll find something. It's not that big a deal, right? And so yeah, my wife's like, I would never stay in a place where I had to share a bathroom with, you know, a whole floor of people. I'm like, honey, it's no big deal. I'm like, I wouldn't take you to do that, but like, it was me, I don't really care. I'll freaking sleep in the airport if I have to, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, the reason I brought that in was just to kind of share that with you. And then the other thing is it comes down, it really does come down to your gear as well that you have. Because the better your gear is, the better you do.
Yeah.
So, does it rain here since you've been here?
Yes.
Like about half the time we've been here.
It was just a joke.
Oh,
I know it rains. So anyway, so I'll show you this really quick now. Then I'll move on. So this right here is my Sims wading jacket. Okay, it's a short jacket, it's waterproof, and put it on, but it's super lightweight, right? And so these jackets are $500. Okay, and then this right here is my Sims waders, and
Nice.
and they're well used, as you can see. They're awesome, and I love them, and they work really, really good. And if you buy like the top end Sims waders, they're about $700. And then Sims wading shoes, and then this right here is the other thing I want to show you. So when I decided to come to Alaska this year and stuff, and I'd hurt my ankle, and I'd done that, I knew that wading in the rivers was going to be a rough thing.
Huh.
And I knew that getting to the river, because you're walking through swamps and over logs and deadfall and stuff like that, and you have to wear your waders going in, but I knew I was going to have issues with my
Trekking poles?
yeah, with my feet. And so anyway, what I wanted to do is I figured this out, and I figured I gotta have some trekking poles to get in, right?
Cool.
So these trekking poles, I'm just gonna show you this, and then I'll be done. So the trekking poles, I looked and looked and looked for different trekking poles and how I could do it and how I could make it work. But I found these trekking poles, and the way they work is I go like this. They're carbon fiber, tougher than tough,
Dude, those are nice.
but they're also adjustable, right?
Sweet.
So if you get a normal trekking pole, they're not adjustable. But you want your trekking poles, you want your arm to be about level like they are right there. Because if it's too high, you can't get any power. And if they're too low, then it gives you back issues for a normal trekking pole. So I got these, but the reason I did is because when you're in the river and you're fishing, the river is super, super deep. And if you have a normal one, you're in water up to here when you're wading across the water. So I wanted to get some that were adjustable and light, but see how tall that is? So
Yeah,
you can go clear down to the water and help yourself get through. But I knew if I went with my ankle being the way it was, it would kill me. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do it. But I thought, if I buy trekking poles and get the right ones, then it'll help me. Okay, it'll be an aid. So the reason I showed you those, does the dog need to go out?
now he's gonna get some food.
He's hungry. But the reason I showed you these poles is I didn't look at coming to Alaska with a broken ankle as an objection. I'm like, how can I get around with that? Now, everybody in my family thinks I'm completely a whack job to come to Alaska. I'm supposed to be in my boot for another 3 weeks. They think I'm completely a whack job to come. But what I did is I did stuff that no one else would do before I came. I went to the chiropractor, he adjusted my foot, he scraped all the scar tissue out of the ligaments in my ankle, and it hurt. I mean, it made me cry every single time. But, I mean, I don't have full range of motion, but I have a lot of it, and I'm doing a lot better. But with these, I can do it. And so what it really comes down to, and what I want you guys to pick up from this little illustration here, is that it really does come down to how can I work around this? How can I help them? And I don't see objections. I don't see concerns. And I definitely don't listen to people when they tell me, oh, I can't do it because of this. I am thinking in my mind, how can we get them around that? Okay, so let's do the demo, and then we'll do the doors, and then we'll go out and do it. So anyway, thanks for humoring me as I